So this is how I make my famous English muffin bread. First, I butter the two. I use ceramic pans. And then next I take some cornmeal and I dust both pans with cornmeal, and that's so the bread's not going to stick in there. The next thing is to get the yeast out and get a large bowl. And it says to put in like 2 packets of yeast for this recipe, but I use a large bag, so it's like 5 teaspoons. And then the milk, there's 2 cups of milk and a half cup of water. I put it in a saucepan with a thermometer. The thermometer, you want it to read somewhere just over 100 to 115 degrees, no more than that. And I use 1 cup of wheat flour, and the rest of the flour I use just regular flour. There's a tablespoon of sugar and 2 teaspoons of salt. And that's pretty much it. Then we have a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and you got to make sure you get it into the pan. And I'm going to put some more flour in there. So I start off with 3 cups of flour with all the other ingredients. And so I'm heating the water and the milk mixture right now. Again, somewhere between 105 to 115 degrees. You don't want it too hot or it will kill the yeast. So we take all the dry mixture and we mix it all up. It's kind of hard to do this when you have your camera in one hand and you're trying to mix with the other. So I don't know if you can see that right now, but I think it's about 108, 109 degrees, and I'm gonna turn the heat off here and remove it from the actual heat source so that it doesn't get any hotter than that. And I mixed a little bit of it in with the dry mixture, and this is kind of what it looks initially like. And then I slowly add the remainder of the 3 cups of flour and alternate between the flour and the milk and water mixture. And just keep mixing it, and this is all by hand. I'm not using any bread maker or anything like that. So I just keep doing it. My arm gets sore by the time I'm done. But it turns out good. So putting the remainder of the flour in right now. And this is kind of the consistency of what it looks like when it's done. And we're going to take that and we're going to divide it into 2 loaves. So you split it in half, and then you're going to put them, notice I put those on the heat source. The ceramic pans are actually heating up from underneath a little bit right now, and I put the loaves in, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover them. I'm just going to cover them, and remember the heat source is underneath. It's not on, but it's still warm, so it's warming up the bottom of the pans. And I'm going to set my timer for, I think the directions say 45 minutes. So I'm going to give it 45 minutes, give or take a few minutes to just let it rise. And you can see now it's starting to rise a little bit here. And I'm going to pan over, and you can see that we're about 19 minutes left. So when we get 15 minutes, we want to turn on we want to turn on the oven and to reach 400, set it for 400 degrees. You can see that it has risen now. And we're ready to put it in the oven. So here we go. Put it in the oven, and then we're going to set the cook time to 25 minutes. Now sometimes I usually check it at 19 or 20 minutes, and sometimes it's brown enough by then, but most of the time it's anywhere between 20 and 25 minutes. I have a wire rack ready for when they get done, and here they are, they're done. The magic of video. And so I pop them out of the pans and put them on a rack to dry. To cool down, and then I'm going to take my electric knife. It's much easier to cut with an electric knife, so you don't squash the bread. So again, this is pretty tough when you're holding your camera in one hand and trying to cut with the other. So I'm just showing you here that this is how I do it. So I'm going to cut up the entire loaf. It smells really good. So I'm going to cut up the entire loaf, and then I have some sandwich bags. You'll see that I'm going to take 2 pieces. So I cut it all up, and I take a sandwich bag and put 2 pieces of bread in the sandwich bags. And so they're packed like that. So I have a whole bunch of them now, and then I put them into a freezer bag, and they go in the freezer. And after it's all done, I can take them out every day, one at a time, and not have to worry about, the bread going bad, because it'll stay in the freezer for a long time. All right. Thanks, man. This is how you do it. Bye.